Hey mi gente, it's Juliansteve. You guys already know my name, but if you are new here, hey! Today we are going to talk about 5 TV shows on Netflix where they overly sexualize teenagers. Just so everyone knows, I did my research, I got it. I got everything here. I may not be a professional, but I know what I'm talking about when I'm saying that Netflix has a tendency to overly sexualize teenagers. Which, by the way, if you voted, thank you so much. And that's why this video is created. We are going to start the video now. The first show we are going to talk about is Sex Education. Sex Education came out in 2019, and it's a show about teenagers trying to start out in school to explore their sexual tensions. The leading character, I forgot his name because I do not watch this show. When I researched, his mom was a sex therapist type of thing, and pretty much she wants to be involved in her son's sex life, which it's understandable because she's a mom who wouldn't want to be concerned about their teenager thinking or even having sex at a young age. But it rubs off weird in a way because they basically condemning for minors to have sex. And before anyone comes for me, yes, I know every parent has their own way of raising their kids. I get that. It's not okay. To me personally. We all got our opinions, but the point is, just continue to hear me out. So, I never watched this show before, right? But when I saw those those interesting clips of these portrayals of teenagers kissing, masturbating, having sex, it rubbed off the wrong way for me. Mind you, these are teenagers, and I get it. They're all experienced teenagers who had sex with have sex with numerous people. Yes, I know this is a real thing, but remember, this is a TV show, and not all teenagers are like that. But now we're going to go to my main problem. The fact that these teenagers are actual adults. Yes, they are adults. I thought they were teenagers until I saw their ages. And sure, they do look young for the most part, but some of them, you could tell, not even, most of them, you could tell they grown as adults, portraying teenagers. But what? Number 2, On My Block. If you guys do not know On My Block, it came out 2018, and the show is pretty much a similar pattern as the other one, but this one is more graphic. I'm lying. Sex Education is more graphic, but what I'm trying to say is the theme-wise, like, this is about gang violence, this is also about drugs, this is also about sex, making out, yeah, all that stuff. And like the other show, these are portrayed by adults. Yes, adults portraying teenagers. Sure, when they started off on the show, they weren't that old, most of the characters, but still, they were still adults portraying teenagers. And mind you, these teenagers, they were being freshmen in high school. Key words, high school, exactly my point. So it didn't make sense to me that they're going to let adults portraying teenagers coming from going from middle school to high school. And then, sure, they look young, but the first episode, no comments. Like the way these two characters, I forgot their names, the way they were kissing, it was so over exaggerated. Mind you, these are teenagers, right? And then we have to remember when someone explores their sexuality or gets, sexual tension, whatever, it's a process. It's a process. Not everybody is developed. If this was their first time having sexual tension between the two, and this is a bad example of showing it to the audience, especially if they're young. And then we have this other couple being over dramatic with the kissing scenes in the bed. Then we have the other couple. Yeah, this show is wild. I do not watch this show as well, but my sisters do. And number 3, Stranger Things. Before, I already know people's gonna be like, oh no, don't come for my show, because I know this is probably everybody's favorite show. To me, do not get me wrong, I've watched Stranger Things, yes I do, but I'm not really a fan like other people that I know in my family. They into the show, well, excluding my mom. They into the show. Compared to the other shows, this one wasn't that bad. When it comes to the ages of the characters being portrayed, it wasn't that bad. It was only 4 characters. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But they do over exaggerate 2 of the couples that have intimacy. There's more couples. I'll be saying I'm not going to put every single detail. There's going to be a deeper meaning. I'm not really promoting the show with this. I just want to have a discussion because we're going to go more deeper when we go towards the end of this video. Number 4, Grandarmy. This show came out this year. Oh, no. This came out 2020. Correct myself. So many content creators that I watch, they have been making videos about this show, and I only saw one of the videos because the other one is very, very long. Long story short, this show isn't that bad when it comes to the explicit stuff, but they do over exaggerate the kissing between couples in certain moments, but certain moments it looks very realistic, while certain other moments it's forced. The way they doing it, like for teenagers, you get what I'm saying? And once again, most of the actors are not teenagers. I gotta keep saying this in this video. Again, like most of them are not teenagers. They actual adults. Some of them are close to 30. Like, this is crazy. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I know I'm not crazy. I remember majority, like some are around my age, which by the way, I'm 22 years old. And then there's some people around 24, 25, which is close to 30 pretty much. They trying, but we're gonna go more deeper. Finally, the 5th show, Outer Banks. Now, Outer Banks came out 2020 as well. It's a show about teenagers as well, once again, and coming of age film, but with mystery stuff and the main character, he's trying to find out who killed his father and trying to find money and this other stuff. No, I did not watch this show as well, but I did see the clips on YouTube. It wasn't that bad too compared to Sex Education and On My Block, of course, but it still gets that vibe of overly sexualizing teenagers. Besides, of course, the age. I'm going to keep saying it's the age, but I honestly don't even know what to say in this part. In this show specifically, most of them, only one of them is over the age limit to portray a teenager, which is a 28-year-old. Second would be the 24th. The others, I honestly, yeah, this is something else. Why is this a problem? Well, for starters, this could make teenagers insecure and think that they will have to look this specific way because of these so-called teenagers in these so-called teenage shows portraying teenagers, and this is a bad representation. We do have to remember teenagers are the audience. No matter how much emphasis Netflix puts that this is a mature show, most of them have TV mature. And you know, the warning and all that crap, we all know teenagers are the ones who are watching this shit too. And then, I mean, I just told you guys, my younger sister, she watches this with my sister, keyword with my older sister, but we're going to get more into that part too. And we are not sure that all these teenagers, they are watching this with a parent or a guardian. We do not know this. And then for Netflix to just think it's okay to overly sexualize these characters, make them do the snappy toppy, getting the freak on, doing all these freaky crap, and as if that represents all teenagers. Not all teenagers are sex addicts. Trust me, I'm one of them. I wasn't a sex addict when I was a teenager. And I have friends who they weren't overly sexual during their teenage years too, like me. And I even have friends who weren't sexually curious. You know, like how these shows are trying to make the characters seem like they always want to have sex. And then look at this example of sex education. You see how Netflix from Ireland, they trying to promote the show sex scenes. Mind, these are supposed to be teenagers. So we're gonna really glorified adults portraying teenagers to get addicted to seeing teenagers having sexual intercourse under the age of 18 and thinking this is some normal shit. That does not make sense. So you're trying to tell me you think that teenagers are not searching up this show, Sex Education? Most of those views, I know they are coming from teenagers or people around my age group. Sure, we adults now. Whoever's 18 and up, we adults, blah, blah, blah. But the underage, unless if your family is cool with you doing that, your parents, your your parents, I mean guardians, depending on your situation, okay, that's different. And I get it, it is not the creator's fault of the show, which I'm doing air quotes because it is in a way, because sure, it does comes to the casting call person as well. That's their fault as well because they casting 18 plus, but I do get it in a way because it's because of censorship. If you guys do not know, I will link those stuff in the description as well in my references for this video. Censorship is a huge problem in America. I know most of these shows, they are afraid that they're going to be censored too much because of casting underage people, which doesn't make sense in a way because you want to portray them so bad on TV. You want to be on the safe side so that way your creativity won't be shut down and extremely clean to your taste, even though you are representing teenagers. We talk about teenagers. You do not think this is damaging teenagers? You do not think that? And then on top of that, it's going to interpret negative stereotypes to not only teenagers, but this also could potentially create and exactly. And the reason I'm not saying those words is because YouTube has a tendency to censor certain videos when you say certain triggering words, and I already said a bunch of triggering stuff right now in this video, but what, I gotta talk. Teenagers want to see actual representation of themselves. They don't want to see people past 20, at most past 20, portraying people who are freshmen in high school through their sophomore, junior years in high school. Like, it doesn't make sense. Okay, maybe when they are high school senior, it makes sense when they get close to the age gap between maybe 17, maybe to 21 at most. But it's crazy. Most of these people, they portraying them at younger ages, for example, 14, but then they actually are 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. Just try to give proper representation of teenagers. Another thing I want to touch on, this also gives ideas to teenagers thinking that this is how their lifestyle is supposed to be. This is how they supposed to be when they between 14 to 18 years old, thinking that, oh, I gotta be a sex addict, I gotta be a drug addict, or I gotta be having at least one of these experiences. And that's not the case. Not everybody's lives are like that as a teenager. Why almost every teenager on these shows have to be overly sexualized? Why they can't be 2 to 3 that don't fruit into the sex life stuff, the drug stuff, the doing other illegal stuff? What can we do better? Number one, wise casting calls, which means being more careful on who you hire by age, which means, for example, if you're going to make a show about high school students, you would want to base the ranges between 14 through 20 years old max. And for example, if you want someone to portray a freshman in high school, make sure the person is between 14 through 16. You guys get what I'm saying? So it doesn't show like a huge gap between the age range. Number two, do not allow minors to watch these shows unless if you do not mind parents or guardians, or if you have a guardian with you watching these shows, or a parent, so they can explain to you why this stuff is over exaggerated, or why this stuff isn't the full picture of teenagers. Number three kind of falls with number two, parents or guardians. Please talk to your kids, especially when they're confused about certain things on the screen and sex. Talk to them. I know it's awkward, but you have to try, especially if your kids are curious. Number four, whoever makes these TV shows or movies, etc., make them less explicit. Why you cannot, for example, make them do a slight kiss here and there, and then you close the door so we could all have the idea, okay, they probably having sex, etc., and then you go to proceed to the next scene, and then they in the battle, someone's getting dressed. You guys get what I'm saying? Not to overly sexualize their bodies, the characters, not to show that this is what they did in the bedroom. Like, why we can't keep things shield? Like, why it has to be all out there for us to see? The final one, which is number 5, adults, which also includes me, because if you guys do not know, I want to become an actor. But anyways, reject portrayals of teenagers unless if you below the age range of 21. I'm serious. If anything, just do college portray. I mean, of course, because anyone could be a certain age in college. I mean, of course, if you under the age of 15, I think. The point is, try to do college stuff and up there. Why focus on teenage portrayals? This could give an opportunity to an actual teenager to portray themselves, teenagers. Thank you so much if you made this far in this video. I appreciate you. Today's feature comment. Tell me what you think about every proposal I made in this video. I mean, or whatever struck you the most. Because I know I said so much stuff in this video, but I would like to hear everyone's feedback, especially if, of course, if your parent doesn't mind. If you're a minor, to comment, say your opinion. If you're a parent, say your opinion. If you're a guardian, say your opinion. If you're my age, say your opinion. Pretty much anyone could say their opinion. Of course, if it's not ignorant or cause, yeah, pretty much ignorance. Otherwise, I'm gonna block it, but whatever. Be sure to check out my Depop, especially if you made it this far, you might as well. I'm saying iPhone XR cases with my younger sister. Yeah, I want to get rid of them. So if you know anyone who's into that, tell them as well. And be sure to follow my Depop, of course. Thank you so much. Peace, man.
She's biracial. She's a biracial girl. She's biracial.